Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we're continuing our study of this book, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. And today we are on chapter 5. So that's a quick summary. We saw in our introduction video the background about Bob Cohen, his journey, his meeting with Srila Prabhupada those few days in Mayapur, right? And chapter 1, we saw how he asked questions about Krishna, and Prabhupada explains them beautifully. Chapter 2, we saw him asking about practicality of practicing devotional service, the rules and all that. How does that apply? Chapter 3, we saw him asking about the soul, super soul, bhakti, and the real goal of life. Chapter 4, we saw about the understanding of the three modes of material nature: Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun, goodness, passion, ignorance, how things are, how to understand things, in proper quotes from Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 5, now we're going to see, is very interesting. So like we saw in our first introduction video, we mentioned how Bob Cohen was a little skeptical, appreciative, but not really ready to jump in full swing to Hare Krishna. He had a little reservations. So chapter 5, we're going to see some of this. So let us begin. This is chapter 5. This is another day, February 29th of 1972. So Bob starts. He says, "Thank you so much for allowing me to ask my questions. Srila Prabhupada, that is my mission. People should understand the signs of God. Unless we cooperate with the Supreme Lord, our life is baffled." So here Prabhupada is saying that his goal of life, ultimately his purpose is that to give, his mission is to actually give people understanding of God consciousness. In one place, Prabhupada once told that, he told to his disciples, like, I am like a cow. Just milk me and I'll give you milk. So you have to make that effort of approaching Srila Prabhupada to at least ask or inquire, and then you will get. So Prabhupada continues, I have given the example many times that a screw which has fallen from a machine has no value, but when the same screw is again attached to the machine, it has value. Similarly, we are part and parcel of God. Without God, what is our value? No value. We should again come back to our position of attachment to God. Then we have value. It's a beautiful, beautiful analogy. We all have experience when we're cleaning the house or cleaning anywhere, right? You find some small screw or nut bolt and you're thinking, where has this come from? And you can't find it. And what do you do with it? You just throw it away, isn't it? Probably came from somewhere. Who knows? Everything is working, everything is functioning, is okay. Just throw it away, isn't it? So the jiva being separated from God also is as useless. But when the nut bolt is fastened securely on the object, it's very valuable. No one will remove it. Bob continues. I met a young fellow today who came here because he heard that hippies were in Mayapur. So hippies were those who were part of the counterculture in the early 60s and 70s, who were seen to take drugs and practice open relationships and just trying to find some higher truth, right? The hippies. Vishwa Prabhupada, he's Indian. Bob says, yes. He lives nearby and speaks English fairly well. When he was young, he worshipped Kali, a popular demigod, Kali Devi, every day very rigorously. But when the floods came and people saw hardship, he lost faith and now he has no religion. Very common people who just become ritualistic, not spiritual. They do not know the spirit behind the ritual, but just ritualistic. Whenever some unforeseen circumstances or difficulty comes in life, they tend to lose their faith. So he continues, Bob continues. He said he now finds his happiness in trying to develop love among people. I couldn't think of what to say to him to add God and religion to his life. He said that after he dies, maybe I'll become part of God, maybe not. But he can't worry about it now. He said he's tried various religious experiences, but they didn't work. One reason I ask this is because when I go back to America, a lot of people I come across are like this. They see that religion, like this worship of Kali or other kinds of religion they have experienced, doesn't work. And I don't know what to say to them or convince them. It is worth trying. And Srila Prabhupada, what a beautiful question. Srila Prabhupada asks, Srila Prabhupada answers, do not try at the present moment. My God, someone would think that after asking all this, you'll say, no, use logic, use reasoning, use this, use that. Prabhupada says, don't try. You first of all become convinced, then try to convince others. So it's a beautiful thing that Prabhupada always tells all the disciples and devotees, that we practice nicely, and then when we share Krishna consciousness, it becomes more effective. Practice to our best degree. So here he's telling to Bob, he's worried about this person, that person, he has become atheist, he has become agnostic, this and that. He says, wait. First you. He brings it back to perspective, So Prabhupada continues to say, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction is that you can improve the welfare of others when your own life is a success. Bharata bhumite hoila manusha janma yar janma sartaka kori kara para upakar. Janma sartaka kori. First make your life perfect, then kara para upakar. Then think about the welfare of others. First make your life perfect, then try to teach others. So this proper simple solution. When a person is worried, I have this guy, I know that guy, he's like this, he's like that. Forget about them. Don't get distracted. Don't try to divert from the attention. Come back to you. So proper is very clear. Bob. Bob then replies or answers. The devotees have told me that without consciousness of Krishna all the time, you cannot be happy. Without Krishna consciousness, one cannot be happy. But at times, I do feel happy. Prabhupada says, at times, not always. Bob says, yes. But if you become Krishna conscious, you will feel happy always. Bob. They imply that you cannot feel happy without Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says, that is a fact. For example, if you are an animal of the land and you are thrown into the water, you cannot be happy in the water in any condition. When you are again taken up on the land, then you will be happy. Similarly, we are part and parcel of Krishna. We cannot be happy without acting as part and parcel of Krishna. The same example as before, the machine part, fallen out of the machine has no value. But when it is again put into the machine, it has value. We are part of Krishna. We must join Krishna. And you can join Krishna immediately by your consciousness. Simply by thinking, I am Krishna's, Krishna is mine. That's all. So basically, Bob was asking a question that, what if I'm not a devotee, but I do feel happy at times? The Prabhupada is saying that that happiness cannot be counted, right? You're a creature of land, you throw you in water, and suddenly that creature of land in water finds a small stick and he holds on to the stick and he says, I'm happy. You're not happy, right? It's an illusion. You're not in your element. You're still in the water. So similarly, people in this world think that I don't need God, I still can be happy. But that happiness is not lasting. That happiness is not real. That happiness is illusion itself. So until and unless one becomes Krishna conscious, means being reinstated in Krishna conscious, always thinking of Krishna, that is real happiness. Bob says, we are part of Krishna. Prabhupada says, yes, everything is part and parcel of Krishna because everything is generated by Krishna's energy and everything is the energy of Krishna. Bob asks, how I can come to feel closer to God? Now, if you realize this, if you're watching all this series, right? This is a question that Bob has asked at least thrice. How can I come closer? How can I feel God? How can I come closer? Right? We have seen this across the chapters. I come to the temple at times and then I leave. I'm not so sure how much I take with me. Prabhupada says you have to be purified. It does not take much time. Within 6 months, Prabhupada saying, okay, you will realize your progress. But you have to follow the regulative principles just as these boys and girls are doing. Then it will be all right. Bob says, I see. So Prabhupada says, they have no tendency for going to the cinema or the nightclub. No. They have stopped all anarthas. That means all unwanted things. Artha means something valuable. Anartha means something which is useless, not valuable. So they have stopped all the unnecessary nonsense things. All unnecessary things. The whole human life is meant for purification. So Prabhupada quotes this verse, Tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam shuddhyet yasmat brahma saukyam tvanantam. This is a quotation from the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th verse, fifth chapter, first verse, where Lord Ṛṣabhadeva is instructing to his sons. So here Lord Ṛṣabhadeva says, Ṛṣabha vacha Nayam deho dehabajam nirloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbujam ye tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam shuddhyed yasmat brahma saukyam tvanantam. So we'll see here, Prabhupada quotes the translation. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva says here that we should perform austerities and penances so that we can purify our existence. Right? Tapo divyam. Sattva means existence. And come to the stage of endless transcendental happiness. So if you do not purify your existence, then you will have to change your body from this to that. Sometimes it may be higher, sometimes lower. For example, if you don't cure a disease, it can put you in trouble in so many ways. Similarly, if you do not purify your existence, you will have to transmigrate from one body to another. And there is no guarantee you will get a very comfortable American body. Therefore, it is essential for a human being to purify his existence. Unless you purify your existence, you will hanker after happiness, but will not always be happy. What a beautiful line. Unless we purify our existence, we will always be hankering that I want happiness, but will never be happy. Bob says, when I go to my job in New York, I hope I'll become pure. But I'm sure that I won't become as pure as your devotees here. I don't see myself doing that. Srila Prabhupada, you can do as they are doing. They are not pure from the beginning. Now they are pure. Similarly, you can become pure. For example, in your childhood, you were not educated, but now you are educated. If you are serious, you can keep yourself pure anywhere. Beautiful point. If you're serious, you can keep yourself pure anywhere. So many people sometimes they say, oh Prabhu, it's so difficult to follow vegetarian. It's so difficult to eat only prasadam. It's so difficult this and that. Right? It's so difficult to follow Ekadasi. It's so difficult to chant my rounds. Actually, if we are serious, we can be pure anywhere like that. So it does not matter whether you stay in America or India, you must know how to keep yourself pure, that's all. So Bob says, you mean by following the principles of Krishna conscious? Prabhupada says, yes, I went to America, for instance, but whether in America or India, I am the same man. Prabhupada gives the best example himself. Prabhupada lived in America, right, in 1960s, right, 1970s, and still Prabhupada did not compromise. He could do it. An old man could do it, not a rich man either. Bob says, I have somewhat tried to follow since I met you the first time last November. Prabhupada, but you must strictly follow if you are serious. Bob, okay, maybe what I will say now is, well, the most foolish of all I've said. But let me tell you how I feel. Prabhupada, no, not foolish. I don't say you are foolish, but imperfect. So Prabhupada saying you're not a fool, but you're just imperfect. Become perfect. Bob, he laughs. Okay, imperfect. But let me tell you, I feel that right now I admire and respect your devotees, but I don't feel as if I am part of them, or even that I have a great desire to be part of them. I feel that I want to do what is right, come closer to God. And if I can just go to a better next life, I'll be satisfied. Prabhupada says, very good. Prabhupada being very encouraging. Okay. Bob says, I guess it's material clinging, but Prabhupada says, so you just follow in their footsteps and your desires will be fulfilled. We are training people how to become purified and happy. That is our mission. We want to see everyone happy. Sarve sukhuno bhavantu. People do not know how to become happy. They do not take to the standard path to become happy. They manufacture their own way. That is the difficulty. So here Bob is, kind of expressing that he appreciates all this Krishna consciousness, but he feels at this current moment, he has so much material desires, so much this and that he feels that Prabhupada, maybe I'm just not ready. Prabhupada says, try, because this is the real path of happiness. So Prabhupada continues, therefore Ṛṣabhadeva gave this advice to his sons. My dear boys, just undergo austerities for transcendental realization. Everyone is performing austerity. One boy I know, Prabhupada tells, he had to go to a foreign country to learn commercial management. Now he is well situated. In this way, everyone is undergoing some austerity for temporary material happiness, isn't it? When to study, to go for a higher study, to work somewhere, we're all taking some form of voluntary difficulty, which is austerity. Students, they have to go to hostel to study. And sometimes for higher studies, people have to go to a different country or city and just adjust and live. Sometimes for a job, to earn more money, a person has to go to a different city or country, just have to adjust. So much. Already we are doing so much of tapasya, already we are doing so much of austerities, but what is the result? Something temporary. Prabhupada's next line. So why not undergo austerity for permanent happiness then? You have to purify your existence and your body. As many times as you accept the material body, you will have to change it. But as soon as you get a spiritual body, there is no question of change. You already have a spiritual body. Now, due to our material contamination, we are developing the material body. But if we associate with spiritual life, then we shall develop a spiritual body. If you put an iron rod within fire, it will become like fire, is it not? Right. So, how by association one gets the qualities of whom one associates with. So, Srila Prabhupada here is saying that, already people are putting so much effort in life. Why don't you make effort for something permanent? If you're simply making effort to change the body, but the body itself is not the body itself is not permanent, it's temporary, it keeps changing. After all this, Bob says a very long or quiet yes. And Prabhupada continues. And when the iron rod is red hot, you can touch it anywhere and it will burn. It takes on the quality of fire, although it is still iron. Similarly, if you always keep yourself in Krishna consciousness, your body will become spiritualized and act spiritually, although it is material. No more material demands. So some people say that, oh, how can we deny the senses? These are material demands. I said, fine. So rise above material demands, become spiritual. So when we become spiritual, then we spiritualize our existence. The best example is the iron rod placed into fire becomes like fire, right? So we don't have to give in to lower natures. Bob is quite interested in this. He says, how do I do this? Srila Prabhupada says, by the process we are teaching. You have seen these 6 boys who were initiated today. That means they took Guru Diksha, Guru Mantra. They became disciples, right? Formally. That means they agreed to follow the principle, chant, and get trained by the Guru. They are doing it. It is very simple. You have to follow the 4 restrictive regulations and chant Hare Krishna on these beats. Very easy. What's saying? Well, Bob says, but I follow some of the regulative principles, but not all. Srila Prabhupada, some means there are only 4 regulative principles. Some means 3 or 2 or 2 or 3. So why not the other one? Bob, no. I mean, I follow 1 or 2. 1 or 2 I follow now. The Prabhupada laughs. Why not the other 3? What is the difficulty? Which one do you follow? Prabhupada says. Bob says, well, I'm almost vegetarian, but I eat eggs. Prabhupada says, then that is also not complete. Bob, no, since I saw you last November, I became a vegetarian. Prabhupada says, vegetarian is no qualification. The pigeon is vegetarian. The monkey is vegetarian. The most rubbish creature, most mischievous. Pigeon has sex 1,000 times a day. Monkey, keeps looking for different mates constantly. So Prabhupada says being vegetarian is okay, but it's not a big thing. It is not a very elevated thing or a spiritual thing. It's just a basic human thing. Bob says, I feel that it was a little bit of a progress because it was somewhat difficult at first, then easy. Prabhupada says, no, you can stick to all the regulative principles, provided you take to Krishna conscious progress. Otherwise, it is not possible. So someone who follows all the principles but does not practice Krishna consciousness, there's no meaning to it. The strength of following the principle comes from our practice of Krishna consciousness. Then we can able to practice the principles. Bob thinks about it. He says, yes. When I'm back in Bihar with my friends and we're sitting in the evening and there's nothing to do but fight the mosquitoes, they say, how about smoking some marijuana, drugs? And I say, sure, there's nothing else to do. Then I sit down and I enjoy myself in the evening. We were doing this every day. We got carried away until we realized that we were hurting ourselves and stopped. But still, on occasion, we, let's say, Prabhupada says, you have to live with us then. Then your friends will not ask you, what about marijuana? Bob laughs. Keep the association of the devotees. We are opening centers to give people a chance to associate with us. Actually, all ISKCON temples all over the world, right? If one is very serious, they provide an opportunity. People can come, stay, learn, practice, attend the program, attend the arti. It's like training facilities, that one can better themselves. So we want people to come and stay with us. Why we have bought so much land in Mayapur? So that those who are seriously desirous of advancing in Krishna conscious can come and live with us. This is the purpose of all properties of ISKCON. We want a lot of land, a lot of big property, big buildings, big rooms. Why? We want to accommodate everyone. Please come, just live with us, chant in the morning with us, dance with us, take prasadam with us, serve with us, right? And in this way, by living with us, one can progress very easily. Association is very influential, Prabhupada says. If you associate with drunkards, you become a drunkard. If you associate with sadhus, you become a sadhu. So Shyam Sundar interrupts. He comments, he can come and stay with you in Bombay. The Bombay temple at the time, Juhu. So Prabhupada, yes, you can stay with us in Bombay, but he wants his friends with marijuana. That is the difficulty. Prabhupada shides him, no? We are giving you all facility, but still you won't come. Why? Because you want your friends who smoke with marijuana. So Bob thoughts about it. Let me ask you about something else. Then maybe I'll come back to this. I find that I think of myself too much. And this way, I can't think of God so much. I think of myself in too many places. How can I forget about myself so I can concentrate on other things, more important things? Prabhupada says, as these devotees have done, right? They have focused on other things. Bob laughs. I think what you are saying to me is that my path to purity is to become a devotee. Prabhupada says, do you hesitate? Bob, so we can appreciate here the resistance or the reluctance or the reservation that Bob is having, which, like I mentioned in the initial video of the series, that many of us, when come to Krishna consciousness, we have this to give ourselves to Krishna, right? But ultimately, the solution is this only. So Prabhupada says, is it very difficult to become a devotee? Bob, for me, it is. I don't feel so much the desire. First, the devotees tell me that they have given up material life. These 4 regulative principles they have explained to me mean giving up material life, and that I see. And in place of this, they have, so like that is going on, no? Prabhupada says, what do you mean by material life? First, get your definitions clear. Bob is silent. I am sitting on this bed. Is it material or spiritual? Bob says, material. Then how are we given up material life? Prabhupada says, Bob says, good. I think how I interpret it as a desire for material gain. Right? Like basically enjoyment, prestige, people want that. Prabhupada says, what is material? Bob thinks about it. Working toward material gain and not giving up material desires. So Prabhupada says, when you desire to gratify your senses, that is material life. And when you desire to serve God, that is spiritual life. That is the difference between material life and spiritual life, right? Now we are trying to serve our senses, but instead of serving our senses, we should serve God, that is spiritual life. What is the difference between our activities and others? We are using everything they use. Table, chair, bed, tape recorder, typewriter. So what is the difference? The difference is that we are using everything for Krishna. Right? So people tend to think that devotees means you don't have anything, you live on with nothing. But the fact is that we have everything nowadays. We have conveyances, we have logistics, we have all different kinds of facilities. But the only difference is we're using it for Krishna. So Bob says, the devotees have said that sensual pleasures they have given up are replaced with spiritual kinds of pleasures. But I haven't felt this. Srila Prabhupada says, spiritual pleasures come when you desire to please Krishna. That is the spiritual pleasure. For example, a mother is more pleased by feeding her son. She is not eating, but when she sees that her son is eating very nicely, then she becomes pleased. Bob says, spiritual pleasure, then is pleasing God. Srila Prabhupada, spiritual pleasure means the pleasure of Krishna. So here Bob is kind of expressing that, still desires of sense gratification is there. So Prabhupada says simple, you work to please Krishna. When you please Krishna, you will get taste in spiritual life. Bob says, pleasing Krishna. Prabhupada says, yes, material pleasure means pleasure of the senses. That is all. That is the difference. When you simply try to please Krishna, that is spiritual pleasure. Bob thinks about it, he says, my thought of pleasing God was to, Srila Prabhupada, don't manufacture your own ways of pleasing God. Why? Because Bob says, my thought, what I think. Right? So Prabhupada goes on, suppose I want to please you, then I shall ask you, how can I serve you? Not that I manufacture some service. That is not pleasing. Suppose I want a glass of water. And if you concoct the idea, Swamiji will be more pleased if I give him a glass of hot milk. That will not please me. If you want to please me, then you should ask me, how can I please you? And if you do what I order, that will please me. Bob says, and pleasing Krishna then is being a devotee of Krishna? Srila Prabhupada, a devotee is one who is always pleasing Krishna. He has no other business. That is a devotee. Bob replies, can you tell me some more about chanting Hare Krishna? I have for quite some time chanted, but never regularly. Just a little bit here and there. I just got beads very recently, and once in a while I feel comfortable chanting, and once in a while not comfortable at all. Maybe I don't chant properly. I don't know. Prabhupada says, yes, everything has a process. You have to adopt the process, adopt the right means. Bob says, the devotees tell me of the ecstasy they feel when chanting. Srila Prabhupada, yes, the more you become purified, the more you will feel ecstasy. This chanting is the purifying process. So chanting itself is purifying. Chanting itself will give us ecstasy when we become purified. So it's a beautiful discussion about purity, becoming pure, not delaying Krishna conscious, and how actually the process is very simple, truthful. At the same time, the process cannot be avoided today or tomorrow. So beautiful chapter. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.